Hi, this is Sandy. Welcome to the Art of Happy Her. Welcome to the Art of Happy Her. I'm your host, Sandy. If this is your first time listening, thank you. Hope you listen with an open heart and that you return. If this is not your first time, welcome tribe. Today, I am so excited. I have a very special guest. Well, all my guests are special, but I think that the community is going to really appreciate this. Um, the reason why I invited my guest now is because during sex education, we talk about preventing STDs, STIs, unplanned pregnancies, and never about pleasure or common things that happen during sex. We don't talk about what does pleasure mean to a woman or to a man, and we are conditioned by society or religion to judge or assume. We judge ourselves and we shame ourselves and others. I think worst, we assume that watching porn is the only tool that we have to learn and expect everyone to have an all fits all perception and view about sex and pleasure. And we never talk about sex in a curious way or in an unselfish way. And we definitely don't talk about full disclosures like consent and feedback. What does aftercare look like? Or, like I said, consent. So I invited King Noire so that way we can have this conversation. King Noire is a co-creative of a sexual content website, amongst other things, with his wife. And they also have a podcast. Shout out to Jet Setting Jasmine. And like I said, they do sexual content, and they expand it into the whole empire. He provides an experience. He is a philanthropist, a philosopher, poet, and a master fetish trainer. Last week, he was featured in Playboy Centerfold, and my girlfriends and I, we have a group chat, and he made our group chat. He has Royal Fetish Experience website where you can find links to the podcast, film, OnlyFans, merchandise, and talking about merchandise, he has dildo that replicates his penis. And without further ado, here is King Noire.
Peace. That was an excellent intro, especially the that I made the group chat. You know, when you make the group chat, you're doing something right. So shout out to everybody on your group chat.
shout out to the girls.
I gotta send y'all some exclusives or something.
Oh my God, my girlfriend, she just threw it out there. She was like, "Oh, you should invite him to your podcast." I don't think she actually thought I was going to.
Oh well, yo, that's when you have the good. That's when you have the good family and friend holding you down. When they be like, "Yo, you need to do this." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
I got some folk like that in my corner.
Yeah, and we're lucky. I wanted to share with you that in the podcast we share intentions, and my intention for today is for us to talk about sex, but not just sex, more like an experience, but with an open heart, and just to spark some curiosity. That's my intention. And first, that was me, and now I want you to share yours. What is your intention for tonight?
My intention is to be open and honest, and God willing, inshallah, inspire some people to be just as open and honest in their relationships and their sex lives.
Thank you. What is your zodiac astrological birth chart? Do you know it? Or your zodiac sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
You just had a birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I can see leadership, confident, all about your money. I can kind of see it. Yeah. And the father of the astrological sign of all of us.
Is that what Capricorn is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh snap! I didn't even know that. I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's start of the
Winter
start of the
solstice.
year, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why we got what's it? The god Janus
Yes.
had
Yes.
had two faces, one facing forward and one facing back.
Mm-hmm. You see, you know more
Yeah,
than
yeah.
what
I
you
could dig
thought.
that. I could
It
dig
makes
that.
sense. What is your cultural background?
My mother's family is African American. We can trace our family back to the plantation in Virginia, but not nowhere farther back than that. And then my father's family is German and Italian American.
Okay, we just like to have a little background so that way we can all see where we're coming from and to
Sure,
see if we can find ourselves in another person.
I dig that.
And when are you your highest self?
When am I my highest, or when am I my highest self? Oh, you got the wine.
Nah, not that's a high, not yet.
Okay.
Your highest self.
Because I was like, I got my edibles and my joint right next to me. But
Yes,
when
I
am I
had
my
edibles
highest self?
already.
For me, when I'm able to be creative and pour my like love and passion and shit, sometimes my anger and shit all into whatever my creative outlet is in that moment. So, I love to write music. I love to produce films, and I love to make love in an artistic way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. How did you explore your kinks?
When? Or just in general? Like,
How? Like what? How? When or what sparked it? Like how did you start? What was the that moment that you just started being curious?
I think it's been my entire life. If I look back to when I was in middle school, I do remember something in middle school that definitely led me on the path that I'm on today, right? So I've discussed this with her, so she's cool with it. I grew up with, had a homegirl, her name was Dana, and she used to run around the school and run up on people and be like, to the dudes and be like, show me your dick. And I did that shit. And then she came back later with one of her friends and was like, show her too. And I just remember in that time, like, I really, really, really liked that shit, and like, I think back, like, for me, like, I always tell people my biggest fetish, my biggest kink is being an exhibitionist. I love it when people watch me. It turns me on. So that goes for sex, that goes for performing on stage, teaching a class, whatever the fuck. Like, I
Being
love
seen.
being seen and sharing, you know what I mean? So I think that was it. And then from that point, I don't know, I've always been sexual, and I was very lucky to be able to meet great people and have great partners throughout my early years that was just as much interested in freaking the fuck out as I was.
That's good that you didn't have any restrictions, because I find that we are our biggest restriction. And how do
I
you?
definitely, oh, I'm sorry.
So it's
No,
okay.
I was going to say, I definitely have restricted myself for sure. I think as I've gotten older and more comfortable within my kinks, like, not even just kinks and fetishes, but even how I love, like, for most of my life, people were telling me being a polyamorous person is wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it was something that I was thinking like, oh, if I'm not monogamous, then something is wrong with me. So I think I got in my own way with that. And as I've gotten older and understood the world more and understood myself more, I think each level, it's like unlocking a new level every time you try something new that you're interested in.
And you have the right support too.
Sure.
Shout out to Jet Setting Jasmine.
Yes,
We
my
love her.
my
Oh my god, and
partner in
she's
all
pregnant.
things. Yes.
I'm so happy. Well, I was like, oh my god, is this your first?
No, this is our second together, but we've been co-parenting our two older kids
Oh, that's
for 10 years.
awesome.
So we got four altogether.
That's great. That's great. How do you recommend that we explore kinks? Like for someone that, uh, for example, I have a lot of listeners that are either just coming out of a marriage or a
Mhm.
relationship, and that's all they've known, but they are curious and they're single. And when I say listeners, I'm talking about me.
Okay. Okay, listeners, I got you. There are a lot of different ways to do it. I definitely say it is always good to work from where you are. If you're not comfortable trying certain things with new people, start by trying it with yourself, by doing the research. Like let's just say, for example, I don't know, shibari. If you're like, I'm really, really into shibari, but I'm
The
not sure.
Shibari.
Shibari is a art of rope tying that originates in Japan. So it's like
Oh,
you've probably seen like really beautiful designs and pictures, and people are like tied up in different restraints and ways, but it's like beautiful, beautiful rope ties. It's not just like, it's not
yeah,
just like straight roping somebody up. It's very
yeah.
much like, it can be super tight, but it's very beautiful. It takes a lot of time. So let's just say you're like, I'm not sure if I want to try that with a stranger, for good reason. There are ways that you can do research on shibari, or even learn how to do it yourself, or try certain ties on yourself that'll then give you a little bit more confidence to go to the next place. And the next place, to me, I always say, is hire a professional, someone such as myself that is
Hmm.
able to provide you a educated, safe, and respectful experience that you might not always get if you just, you know, pick somebody up at the club, right?
Hmm.
So then when you've worked with a professional, like let's say you work with someone who's a professional rigger, a professional in shibari, now you know, okay, this is how it's supposed to go. This is how it's supposed to feel. And if you do have a partner, you're like, hey, I would like us to try this together. You feel way more confident in a situation than you would if you just were like, hey, baby, you want to try and hang me from the ceiling with this rope? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
Yeah.
it's very important to try and do these things through steps, especially when we're coming out of relationships, or and if we are coming from a place where maybe our past experiences around sex or kinky shit just might be coming from a bad place, and we're trying to correct the wrongs from our past.
Hmm. In my case, it's not even like from a bad place. It's sometimes like some people just get married very early and
True.
in their lives, or some people just not never been exposed to it. Period. Like haven't even seen
Yeah.
it, or like I was surprised when you said Shabari. I know
Mhm.
the ropes. I've seen the ropes, but I didn't know it's like silk, right? Is
Well,
it the silk ones?
shibari is actually what it can be with silk rope. It can
Because I've
be it can
seen
be tied
beautiful.
with any kind of rope, but it's more like the beautiful patterns that they do and the specific ties that they do,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to, like, there are people who can tie you up amazingly, and they're just working with specific types of knots. They're not gonna braid the rope around and make it into a pattern. They
Mm-hmm.
just gonna make sure you tied up real good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
got it.
you know,
Do you
um,
think that everyone has kinks?
everybody has kinks, everybody has fetishes. There are a lot of things that are normalized in our culture and in society now that we don't think of as kinks and fetishes. Like, I think of like talking with some of my homies or whatever, like, man, I ain't into none of that kinky shit. I don't got no fetishes or whatever. And I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
you was just telling me the other day how much of an ass man you are, how much you
Mm-hmm.
love ass or whatever. Oh yeah, but that's normal. Well, it might be
No,
normal to you, but it's still a fetish. A fetish is defined as anything that turns us on that's not directly related to procreation.
you see,
So
and
think of the range. It's like
mm-hmm.
infinite. And
Yeah.
everybody's fetishes are different. Like, even my boy that's the ass man, right? Some people are like, hey, I have a specific type of ass that I like that is rounded this way, that's got the nice little, the nice little cuff at the bottom, and and then somebody else is like, well, I might like it if it jiggle, or I might like if someone sits on me, or I might, you know what I'm saying? Like, I might like
fetish.
to get rimmed, or, there's so many different ways that an ass fetish can be experienced. So that's what's like, fetishes are infinite. We all have them. We all have a number of them. So it's one of those fun things about just like exploring our sexuality.
So, speaking about exploring, do you, how does understanding the human anatomy help us with sexual exploration and pleasure?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, it lets us know where we are safe. It lets us know what's connected to what. Like if you give the right kind of foot massage, there are different parts of the feet that are connected to different parts of our body. So you'll feel a foot massage in your pelvis area or something like that, or in your heart. All these
Right.
different places if you do it right. Exactly. So it's like understanding the body, understanding first of all your own body, and then understanding the bodies of your partners, and also recognizing whereas we have the same parts in some ways, our parts might be different than our partners in other ways, or our partners and the different partners that we have, they're not all the same. So we have to learn each other's bodies, not just in the in the scientific sense, but but everything that makes each of us individual and special.
Thank you. What does healthy communication or negotiation, what does that look like when it comes to sexual consent?
Oh, you wanna do an exercise in negotiation?
Yeah, because
Okay.
the thing is that this is the thing for someone that hasn't explored kinks or or moved to the next level of kinks, or someone that is in a sex party or whatever, right? Like something that has not that there's sex happening, right? Um, how do we negotiate a consent? Because there's things that maybe I don't want to do, or that I might
Absolutely.
change my mind about, or like
No,
let's
for
do the
sure.
script. Yeah, let's
All
do
right.
it.
So what I usually like to do, especially with new people that I'm working with, whether they're subbing for me, bottoming for me, or even somebody and we're just having our first sexual interaction or whatever, I like to lay out on the line first and foremost, what are your hard limits? Like, what are some things, like, for the sake of time, tell me 3 things that you're just like, hell no, don't do that shit.
Hell no, don't do that shit. Don't put your fingers or anything in my ass without me trusting you first, like
Okay.
and make without us prepping or whatever.
Sure.
That's one. Two, I don't mind spit, but don't spit in my face. It's kind of
Gotcha.
disrespectful. That's a no.
Hmm.
No. And you said three?
Yeah, give me one more.
Um, I don't like hitting. Don't hit me. That's a hard one.
Gotcha. So those are 3. I'll give you 3 for me. Don't stick anything other than your tongue in my ass. Nothing racial, no kind of racist or racial language. And number 3 is don't close fist, no close fist hitting,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So now we just met. We already know 3 things that, for both of us, that we ain't gonna do. The other thing that's very important is establishing safety words. We like to use the universal safety words of red, yellow, and green. Red is a complete stop, which means no matter what is happening, we could be in the most orgasmic moment. If one of us says red, we stop. There's no wait, 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 wait. There's no wait, how about, can we, nah, none of that. We completely
It's
stop.
no. It's
Yeah.
no.
If the lights are off, the lights come on. If you're tied up, you get untied. you know, and then you check in on your partner. You check in on them physically, you check in on them mentally, check in on them emotionally, you know, make sure that they are okay. And that's not make sure that they are okay so you can start up again. It's make sure that they are okay, period. Right? Yellow is kind of like slow down, right? So maybe we're doing something that involves spanking. And you're just like, yo, I need a yellow. If you hit that right cheek any more times, it's a wrap. Like, I'm done. Or I'm in the wrong position right now. You know, I need to
My
move
knees.
because yeah, exactly. Maybe your knees or something like that. Or
Have cramp.
I need some water or whatever the case being, right? And green is kind of like, I'm good. Let's go. I'm good with what's happening. I can either go further or we can stay where we're at. You know, so like I think all negotiation is very important for any kind of sex. It doesn't have to be the most kinkiest type shit in the world. But I know, like for example, I know now if you're just like we're doing stuff and we in the moment, like she said no to anything in her ass. Keep your hands on the cheeks or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And if that is violated, if somebody goes beyond that point, then you have violated that person. You have violated their consent. You know where that lies. And let's say there's something we haven't spoken about yet. You should have the wherewithal from having that initial conversation. You know, is it cool if I pull your hair? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's to me, consent is the sexiest fucking possible thing.
Yeah,
Because
King,
somebody is letting you know you can do all this shit.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I learned at a certain age, because I'm not a young chick, and I've been having sex for a long time. But like in 2019, that was just the other day, I learned consent, how sexy it is.
Yeah.
And it was because the person that I was with, actually everything that we were going to do, he asked me if it was okay. That shit has never happened to me because I'm Latina. Just in case you couldn't tell. The accent. And I don't know if it was because he's a lawyer, not sure, but listen, it doesn't matter. The thing was that was so fucking sexy because in the machista world, someone to consider me and to ask me first, to ask me, can I kiss you, or can I go down on you, or do you like this?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Nobody has asked me that. I thought that was the most sexiest shit, Like, when we were having oral sex, like, when I was sucking his dick, he's like, is it okay if I come? Because people just did that, period. Yeah. And I was in shock that he asked me that, but it's sexy shock. So... Yeah. Yes, consent is very sexy.
And I think there are a lot of ways to ask a question. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes like people might have power dynamics. So you might not be like, can I, may I? But you can also ask, are you comfortable with? Right? So then you might not have to switch up your power dynamics if you're in one of those type of relationships, or you're just a person that doesn't know how to say, can I? You know what I'm saying? But like there's many ways to ask a question. So there should never, like when I hear people that'll try to make it like, oh, but like, that it don't take away nothing from it.
No, it doesn't.
And it's very important to know, like, not everybody is the same. So what worked for you in your last relationship or your last sexual encounter could be completely different in this one that you're in. So you should be learning this person. You should be asking these questions. And I think because, we all grow up kind of with this fairy tale of what relationships are, where it's like, my partner is supposed to know everything that I'm into and what I'm thinking. Like, nah, fuck out of here with that. Nobody's that basic. You should hope that you are not that basic, that whenever you meet some brand new person, they know everything you're into. You know what I'm saying? So you should also realize that nobody can read minds.
No.
You know, closed mouths don't get fed. Let them know what you like. Tell them what you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Be straight up and forthright with your partner from your own, and then ask them what they're into as well. It makes the sex so much better.
Communication is lubrication.
Facts.
So what are the misconceptions of porn? What do we see that it's not necessarily true? What do you think that we see, the viewer, and then behind the scenes, like a lot of other things happen?
I can speak from my own productions. I can't speak for porn as a whole. But like from my own productions, we pride ourselves on things being real. The things that you see that are different is when you're having sex at home, ain't nobody do hair and makeup. Usually. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't have somebody here show up to just make sure that your house is lit perfectly, right?
Lighting.
You didn't have nobody do that. You don't have somebody there usually holding a camera to make sure you get all your best angles. But one thing that is important about porn that you can do in your life that you don't always see is that negotiation that we just spoke of. There's nothing that's going to be on camera that we haven't both said, like, I'm okay with that. I am all right with that. Let's do that. You know what I'm saying?
So let's talk, that's ethical porn, right? So that's what you're saying? Okay, yeah. So what's the difference between ethical porn and the porn like Pornhub?
Well, I have porn on Pornhub. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different creators on Pornhub. Pornhub itself does not create content. Pornhub is, I don't know, like the site we're on now. Riverside doesn't create podcasts, but it has a lot of different creators. So there are companies, whether they post their shit on Pornhub or they're just a company posting on their own site, that are unethical as any other company can be unethical. I'm sure we've all heard horror stories from the industry, whether it being some racist shit, some sexist shit, somebody not knowing what was going to happen on set when they showed up there, and now someone's like, well, we're not going to pay you if you don't do X, Y, and Z, which is still it's kind of like bribery assault. I don't know. Right. There's like a certain way of phrasing it where it's kind of really like you're backing somebody into a fucking corner to do something they don't want to do, or saying that they can't get paid, or you're going to charge them a kill fee. You know, there's a whole lot of unethical shit that goes on in our industry, same as any other industry. But the difference is our industry, unfortunately, is not regulated.
No. It's entertainment, but it's different. It's, you know, some people don't care.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, if you think of like Hollywood or the professional, you know, or the vanilla side of film, there are certain, there's a union.
Yeah, there's a union.
There's certain oversight on film to make sure that certain labor practices are met. That people are paid ethically and so on and so forth. And they don't have that in porn. You know, so really in a lot of cases, any old body could pick up a fucking camera and say they're a porn creator now. You know, so there is a need for regulation and ways to keep people safe in most things, because you're always going to have shitty individuals trying to make a dollar off of somebody else. You know, like when I first got started in this industry, I was 18 years old. So I ain't know shit from nothing. I was just trying to make sure that I had food in my stomach and a roof over my head. So there was a lot of situations that now I look back on and I'm like, damn, like they was really doing us fucking dirty.
Right. Taking advantage.
You know? And that was one of the reasons why Jasmine and I started Royal Fetish Films, because we wanted to make sure that we made something that was beautiful, something that held us up on a pedestal, but at the same time was ethical behind the scenes, not just, on camera.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I really do.
Thank you.
What what is it important? Why is it important for us to get consent, like for kinks, like I said, anal, spit, body fluids, urine, all of that? The reason why I'm bringing this up is because in your podcast you said something that I'm gonna quote, and I was like, oh my god, I never thought I never thought of that. I never thought of it like that. I had like a blonde moment. No discrimination. I was blonde yesterday. So um, it's you said, quote, it's okay to try new things and not like them, but make sure when you don't like them, you speak up, unquote. I was
Yeah.
like, what? I wrote it down. I was like, it's so simple. And it's can you say this?
Yeah,
Because
sure. I think
it's
it's
good.
important for us to try all types of shit. I think there's like this kind of perception also where we're like, if I try this new thing, like me and my partner, we're gonna do this blindfold thing and it's gonna be just like it was in the fucking movies or whatever. Like sometimes shit don't work out that way. Some of us will try something and we'll be like, I don't know, I don't like it when I can't fucking see. Take this blindfold off right away.
Right. Like
You know,
beach. Like
but
everybody
that
always used to be like, oh, I want to have sex on the
oh,
beach. I
sex on the
didn't
beach
like it.
is it can be extremely problematic.
I didn't like
Because you could get some sand in some places that are very painful.
it.
But like, I think a lot of times though, for example, right? Like let's just take sex on the beach, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You do it, you don't like it. Let's just say you're in a position where it's like you don't like it, but you could still do something. So what is it that you didn't like about it? I don't like being butt booty naked on this sand with this sand going into my vagina while you're fucking me. That shit feels horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like let's go wash off. Let's go jump in the water. Let's go wash off. I could eat you out now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't got to do penetration since you might be a little sore now or something like that, or you know whatever else, like the blindfold thing. We could take the blindfold off and fuck without the blindfold. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But don't put yourself through painful sex on the beach or
Because I had agreed to it from the
yeah,
beginning.
or traumatizing sex with a blindfold when it's
Because
so
I had
easy to
said
just
yes.
yeah, but it's okay to say no now.
Yeah, that was
Consent
like,
consent
yo, when you said
Once you
that,
give consent, it doesn't mean that you can't take it away. You can say I don't like this. It's and now you know for the future. So now you know it's your lover when y'all go park down by the beach late at night. We fucking on the boardwalk. We not getting on the sand. Or we fucking in the car. We not getting on the sand. You know what I'm saying? And now we don't have to have a bad experience again or go through with an experience that's now going to traumatize our relationship forever. Because I'm like,
right.
I had this horrible situation with you and you didn't notice that I was feeling pain and I also didn't tell you. So, you know what I mean? Like it's very important to speak up. And I do think that the things we experience that we don't like also help us find the things that we do like. Because like,
Yeah.
let's say you were like, what did I like about sex on the beach? I definitely ain't like the sand, but I love the sound of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
And maybe I didn't
Let's
know
just go
that.
get a spot. Let's just go get a spot with a balcony. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Because then
We
we could
could
just
see
open,
the sand.
we can see and hear the ocean, but we ain't got to be in that shit. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes. I like that.
Or what did I like about what was it that made me interested in the blindfold? It was the element of surprise. Okay, so instead of being blindfolded and me not being able to see you, how about we try something different where I don't know when you're gonna initiate sex with me this time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you could pinpoint like, okay, I like this, don't like that. And then you're building up your whole sexual being from both things. But it's like if you don't stop the ones you don't like, when you realize you don't like that shit, it can then be something that's traumatizing. So it's
I think
important
that
to
the
speak up.
first time that you say that you can stop it, it's the hardest time. I think. But then you start, once you see, like, once you do that one time, you
Mm-hmm.
start getting confident because it's, you see the outcome is not even bad.
For sure.
Usually it's not even bad. People usually be like, you know, if human beings, like, if they're not a psychopath, or
Yeah.
they actually step back and they won't continue. So then
Someone
you
who
get, you
cares
get the
about
hit.
you.
Yeah, someone that cares about you.
Yeah.
You actually will be surprised, and then you get the hang of things. Like, you
Yeah.
do it next time without a problem. It's the first time that it kind of, like, you don't know what to say because you said yes already. You feel like, oh, I said yes to that.
Well, I think especially for women,
Hmm.
it's as if when a woman says yes to a man in any kind of way,
Hmm.
now that's like somehow you've given your entire being over to this man
Hmm.
to now do
Hmm.
whatever the fuck with. And that's
Yeah.
not how the shit works. You're
Right.
still in complete control of yourself. It's still your body, it's still
Hmm.
your soul. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that things are kind of like oh no, now I'm gonna have blue ball. Man, fuck out of here with that shit. That shit don't exist. You know what I'm saying? And if you
Right.
care about this woman and you care about her pleasure as well as your own, you should stop when she tells you to stop. Try something else if she's still open to you trying something else. And if she don't want to continue at all, be a good conversationalist and good listener and see how you can be of assistance.
And what I find is that once you open up with conversations, once the woman trusts the man, um, so many other much more beautiful experiences happen because it's the
Absolutely.
trust part. You know, when I can trust safety, when I feel safe, then yeah, a lot of shit happens.
For sure.
Um, how does your partner feel considered during a threesome? Like, what does consent before, during, and after make a threesome? Like, what does that look, and how do you know, or how do we know that our partner is being considered?
Well, I think first and foremost, as a couple, you need to have a conversation prior to bringing in that third party. You need to have a conversation with each other. What are you comfortable with? What are you comfortable doing? What are you comfortable with me doing? What are you
Hmm.
comfortable seeing me do? Because
Right.
if you're like, baby, I really, really want to do, you know, a 69 with this third person. What you mean? If that's how somebody reacts to it, you're probably gonna have a bad threesome, and you might not want to go through with it. I think you should definitely know yourself. Are you the jealous type? Are you able to also, like, am I able to be in a threesome where I am not the focus? You have to think about that for yourself too, because there are times in a threesome, because you got three people, there might
Hmm.
be a time when somebody else is the primary focus other than you, because there's two other people there.
Hmm.
Are you able to be be helping instead of just being the one who's receiving all the pleasure? Are you able to be a giver? Are you able to sit back and watch your partner with somebody else while you might just be there playing with yourself for a minute? Like, you have to ask yourself all the possibilities.
And does the person stay? You know, is it
Yeah,
okay,
that's
or
that's
does
an
the
important
person takes
question
the
too.
Uber right away?
Yeah, yeah. Are they hanging out or they banging out? That's
Uh-huh.
all you
Are
need
they
to know.
having breakfast, or we're gonna Uber the person out of here?
Word.
We need to know. That's important. I think that a lot of the threesomes, like, a lot of people have a fantasy because we only see the pleasure part of it, right? But then we don't think about the conversation before the threesome, and we don't think about aftercare because we don't
Mm-hmm.
see that in any scene.
Yeah,
So then when we are exposed to that situation, that's why a lot of people have a very bad experience afterwards. Like,
that's real.
couples, jealousy or whatever. because there's a lot of stuff that people don't talk about. Because for some people, they don't mind giving a man a blowjob, but they don't want to kiss. And we need to know this. We need to know. For some people, a kiss is very personal, intimate, and we're not doing this.
And it's very important to have that conversation with the unicorn or the third person when they arrive too. You know, like, these are our limits, these are our boundaries. What are your limits and what are your boundaries? Because just because that person is the third wheel or the soloist, so to speak, doesn't mean they trying to do all the shit y'all want to do anyway.
Right. That too. Right? Like, you know, like, no, you can't do that.
And be like, I might not want to kiss y'all either.
Yeah, exactly. Who you think? What you think?
I ain't trying to be part of y'all relationship. I ain't even want to stay.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even want your breakfast. I don't eat in people's houses.
Word.
You have a cat. I'm leaving. I have another one. Let's talk about pictures, like texting unsolicited pics of our genitalia. In your podcast, you were talking about ocular rape. Can we?
A phrase coined by the homie Tyomi, Glamazon Tyomi.
Shout out.
Yeah. Yo, don't do that shit.
Thank you.
Just don't do that shit.
Thank you. And this is coming from a man.
If somebody ain't asked for you to send that shit, they don't want to see that shit. Because when they are ready to see that shit,
they ask you for it.
Yep. But I will say,
male.
Women be doing that shit too.
Yes, I know that.
And it just be like, and it's kind of like, I ain't asked for that shit either.
Right, but women, I think that we do it differently.
Stop trying to get my Instagram shut down by sending me pictures of your booty hole. Like, no, but you're gonna get my shit shut down.
No, I think that women do it. They do it sneakily, though. Not all of them, but a lot of them be like, "Oh, I just want you to check this out. Like, see this, or is my vagina the same as whatever, you know, compared to another vagina, whatever."
Like, I'm not a fucking
gynecologist.
Keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah. But the men, like, and not even on DM, because I can't front. I haven't had any pictures like that. But it's just even people that I'm starting to know, or even that I have fucked, like. But we just have like that type of relationship with just casual hookups. Don't send me that. Like, I didn't ask you for that.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And how do we first of all, why did you even think that I wanted to wait? Like, sometimes I'm with the kids or I'm doing something, like, I think that you should just give a little text, like a little ping,
a heads up, you know, and then see if the person is in the right space to receive it. Because sometimes some things could be happening. You could be working, or I don't know, someone just died. Something big, and you don't want to just open a text to a dick pic. Word.
Even if it's a beautiful dick.
Word.
It's so fucking rude. It's ocular rape for sure. I really wanted to talk about that one. And how does safe experimentation look like for someone who is new to kinks? How does guidance or negotiation look? Well, we talk about negotiation, but like guidance, like for you and your wife, that you guys are fetish master trainers. Like, how will we start experimenting if I come to you?
Sure. Well, when people hire me for fetish training, we actually kind of get on a call like this one and start talking about what it is that you're interested in experiencing, what you'd like to explore, what your background is already in kink, kind of like where you're getting your information from. We have a list on jsjlinks.com that's like hundreds and hundreds of fetishes that I send to people that I look at kind of like my ink blots. Like, I learned a lot about somebody. It's kind of like yes, no, maybe questions for like hundreds of fetishes. I'll send one to you for your text group so y'all can all do them together. and compare y'all kinks to one another. But
from vanilla.
you know, and then from there, like let's say you are brand new to it, I'm not gonna just throw you into the pool, so to
That's
speak.
my fear because I'm so vanilla.
We're gonna start by just dipping your toe.
Okay.
That's all we gotta do. Dip your toe, and you be like, okay, I like the temperature of this water right here. All right, cool. Now let's put on your little floaties. You know what I'm saying? And get you into where you're comfortable. We don't gotta go to the deep end yet. We just gotta get you comfortable and teach you how to swim before we go anywhere close out there. And I think it's very important with especially when you're working with professionals, they'll know, a good professional will know, like, okay, this is where we're gonna have to stop, because any place past this is gonna be a little bit too much for you, or we're gonna be pushing too close to that hard limit that you let me have in our pre-conversation. So this is where we'll go, and all the rest of the area that you're comfortable with, we'll work within that space. And if next time you want to go a little deeper, then we go a little deeper. And I think it's good for people to work with professionals because, one, we know how to keep you safe. We're not going to try and show up asking for fucking breakfast. We're not going to be all in your business. We're not going to be sending you dick pics. We are there for what it is you hire us to be there for. And it is a safe space to be able to be your whole self. You know, it's like talking to a therapist. You could say all that shit.
Everything. You're not going to judge. You don't know me.
They're not going to judge you, exactly.
No, you just care because you're there, but that's it.
Yeah, I tell everybody, if it's something that I am not trained in, I can present you with someone I know who is trained in that specific area. If you want me to be there with you, I can be there with you. And I always tell people when they're looking for a dom or they're looking for a professional, any kind of experience, you have to find out, is this person a know-it-all or is this person a professional?
Right, because that's a difference.
I know there's a big difference, you know. So it's very important to be able to find people who know what their strengths are, what their limitations are, and where they have the resources.
Because sometimes we don't know, you don't know the answer to something, but you have the resource, like you can guide us, like where to go. Why do you think this is going to be my last question before you share all of your handles and website and everything? Right. Why do you think that kinks and BDSM are intimidating to people?
I think sex in general is intimidating to people because we've been told that sex is wrong. We've been told that, you know, these feelings and emotions and desires that we have need to be very deep, deep down inside of us and not spoken about and not expressed. And then you add that with other things that are of the kinkier element, and you're not like, what? You're not supposed to mix food and sex, like it's too dirty, or
you're not your supposed wife to be shouldn't do this, or your husband shouldn't be doing this to you because you're not.
But all of that is about control. You know, in order to control people, in order to keep people from experiencing things outside of whatever that, whether it was the church or, you know, trying to keep people in a certain lane. And I think people are afraid to cross over to these new things because it's easy to complain about what you don't have. It's a lot harder to fully go with all the things you might have. You know what I'm saying? Like to kind of like take that chance to move out to that deeper end of the pool
is more than it is
to it's way more comfortable to stay, you know, on the sideline
in the know
like that.
And but it's when you don't know what you're gonna do, like taking a risk in anything, business, sex, love, is vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a chance that you might get hurt, but there's a bigger chance that you might love it.
Facts.
And that you're going to be happy for that moment or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's the best to take some risks. Can you share your handle, share your website, your Cash App, your Venmo, everything?
I ain't got a Venmo no more. Okay. Kick my whole ass off of there. But you can find me on RoyalFetishXXX.com, King Noire XXX.com, OnlyFans.com/King Noire, Centerfold.com/King Noire. That's KINGNOIRE. And then, of course, the Real King Noire on Instagram, at King Noire on Twitter. I have been shadow banned on both. There is a whole lot of fake me's out there, so make sure that you find the real ones. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if you want to send me some money or some stuff, just come join my OnlyFans on my website and download your favorite scene.
Yes. Oh my God.
I have a lot of wild, freaky shit.
I'm seen it.
Into some crazy shit. I love to please, and I love to show the fuck out.
Yes. And please go check out the dildo.
Yes, please do. I have the King Noire dildo. Mm-hmm. It is made in my own image.
It is true though. It's true. I am a
sneakerhead, so I have it in mad different colorways that can match your favorite shoes and outfits and all kinds of cool shit like that.
And like he's the only one that I've seen naked, like with the best kicks. Yo, that kick, the kick. Yo, for real. It's like New York City. I'm like, yo, that's it. That's dope. Because usually we see women with heels, you know? So it's good.
I love women who got a mean shoe game, you know what I'm saying? And when I first started in this, my brother, Majesty, rest in peace, he's a sneakerhead. And he was like, yo, women be having all the fly shoes, dude be in that shit in fucking socks.
Yeah.
You gotta rock. Like, he was a big Jordan head. So he's like, you gotta rock J's or something. And then it just kind of expanded into just different kinds of kicks and shit.
It's so dope. So thank you for coming. I know that you're super busy. But our
thank you so much for having me.
I know it's going to be amazing for everyone. And I just want to invite everyone to rate this podcast and to review. And also, if you're part of the LGBT community or the Ys, which is 45 years old and older community, please let me know how can I support and include you in our conversations. Email me at theartofhappyher@escthenetwork.com or DM me. I've been told I am responsive to my DMs. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I was so nervous at the beginning. I'm like starstruck.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I will send you everything so you can look at it too and share it with your community. Thank you, love. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.